Welcome to the show, everybody. Micah with Coronavirus Diaries, and today I'm speaking with Joe Cebula, a physical trainer. Basically, Joe, how about instead of me saying anything, you just explain to viewers who are you, what do you do, and we'll go from there.
All right. Again, my name's Joe Cebula. I'm a personal trainer by trade. I run a podcast called The Maximus Podcast with my co-host Bobby Maximus. And honestly, that's what I've been recently. I was working at a gym. The gym shut down during the coronavirus, and so I'm just kind of doing my own thing right now. A lot of online stuff, and honestly, just focusing on pumping out content for the podcast.
Before we started recording, it was just touch a base, and it was kind of the hey, what's up, how you been, what's good since last time, and you'd said, like in the most politically correct kind of way, COVID was good for you, in terms of kind of what's happened with workflow and that. Do you mind going into that a little bit? Because
No, that's great. So when I was working a full-time job, my focus was on that job, right? There were opportunities that I was pursuing. There was kind of the promise of opportunity down the road, and I was just grinding day after day, trying to make that a reality. I was kind of getting frustrated with the pace. Patient, willing to do the work, but just like, I'm still not seeing the money. And just as I'm getting to the point where like the rewards are going to start to exist, like the talk that I was listening for was starting to happen, the gym just shut down, and I'm just like, I'm cut off. So, all right, well, now what am I going to do? I can bury my head in the sand and wait for this whole thing to be over, like so many other trainers that I know. Or you know what? I have so less distraction now. I'm going to focus on other things. Now, my podcasting partner, Bobby, he had concerns about what he was going to do. And we just decided, you know what, we've got time. We're just going to start hammering content. And so we went from doing like one podcast episode per week to doing one a day. And we're currently on a schedule right now. We're recording 2 or 3 episodes every day, 5 to 6 days a week. So we've got content built out through the end of the month already. And just because we started hammering these things, the doors are just opening up. We're getting guests that we couldn't get scheduled before. We're getting guests that have crazy lives and crazy schedules. And all of a sudden they're like, you know what, I'm totally available if you guys want to do this. And it's like, yeah, let's just do this. So we're kind of just trying to strike while the irons are hot and just keeping that stuff going. And then in the meantime, not letting my own fitness slide, really dialing back my nutrition, because I know what I need to do. I don't need a coach to tell me, like, that's my job. I should just be good at it. And then just kind of taking my thing online. So the skill set that I have besides training, I do a lot of website design. I do a lot of digital media creation. So again, doing the podcast, building some websites for folks, working with some other trainers to help get their websites up and running, and a couple other little side projects that have just been on the back burner for a long time. And now it's like, well, I've got the time, so let's get to it. So honestly, since I got furloughed, I have been more busy. My days have been just like, I wake up, I do a workout, I work. I'm like, oh crap, I need to like eat something. I got to run upstairs, make myself some food. I'm back down here in my little dungeon. I'm doing another workout. I'm work. And then it's like, geez, it's 7 o'clock at night. I haven't seen my kids yet.
So the last time we chatted, it was a week and a half ago, or about 2 weeks ago.
Almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you had made a comment about not having equipment in the home. There's a lot of stuff regarding like making a decision, your mindset. You had mentioned incarcerated individuals as some of the most ripped and shredded individuals in society, and they have a small cell to work with. I think that alludes, like what you talked about in that episode is alluding to a lot of what you're talking about in this one, is that you made this choice, right? Like part of a benefit for you going into it though is that the Maximus podcast, how long had you guys been running that?
So we just passed our year in January.
So you've been doing about an episode a week, up for about a year, and then the whole COVID thing hit, and you pivoted, you transitioned, and now you're going down that avenue. Would you mind going into it a little bit as far as just kind of the lifestyle, right? Like you went from, you wake up, say hello to the family, then you go.
I'll talk a little bit about kind of what my journey has been, because this has changed. Because for years I owned a gym, and so I would usually wake up without an alarm, because I ran most of the evening classes, because that's just kind of when most of the business was. Mm-hmm. So I had a different coach that would run our morning schedule, and then I would get into work just before noon, and I'd be there until probably 9 o'clock at night. And I mean, I was just at the gym. And so a lot of time
Present.
working out, just physically present. I had an office there. I had my laptop there. And so it was all gym business, right? It was the gym website, doing marketing, emails, everything that I could do to help kind of grow the business, writing the program for everybody, managing all my personal clients, that whole thing. And then home late. And so I always had the mornings with the family. Kids would go off to, preschool. My wife would go off to work, and then I would go off to the gym. After I sold the gym, I had to pivot again, pick up a part-time job just to kind of help make ends meet, start working on building a new personal training business back home, because my gym was a long ways away. So, I mean, I had an hour commute to get to work. So a lot of my time was traveling. A lot of my expense was, vehicle expenses, gas and maintenance on my car. And believe me, I went through 2 cars over 10 years. It just took a beating. I mean, over 200,000 miles on each. So I would just drive them into the ground. Like, it just kind of made sense. I'll drive this one till it dies, and then I'll replace it. And then all of a sudden I didn't have to drive anywhere. I'm just like, I'm in town. Then I decided I would take this job with a bigger gym, had a commute again. So, okay, upgraded the vehicle, went to that. And then it's almost the same thing, but different schedule. So my actual scheduled hours were like 11 to 7, but I pretty much always worked like 10 to 8, just again, trying to strike where the business is. If somebody wanted to come in early and they're willing to pay me a premium for that, like, you better believe I would do that. So Sunday through Thursday was my work week then. And it was like, I was just gone Sunday through Thursday, and then I'd be home Friday, Saturday, and then the weeks would kind of keep rolling. So that was much more what most people experience. You've got kind of your Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type job.
The grind.
And then that stopped. And it was like, well, okay, what am I going to do now? I've spent so much time learning how to hustle, learning how to stay focused. And frankly, especially being in that big box gym environment of just staying busy, where I had something on my schedule every hour of the day. I had a very specific goal for each hour that I had throughout the day. And I really liked having that structure. So I just applied that to where I'm at now.
So to jump in real quick, when you're in that type of environment as a personal trainer, isn't it essentially like you're a contractor for that? So you're managing your own schedule. You're the one doing
so
everything.
it's different. Companies handle it different ways. The way that this company handled it was they wanted trainers there at certain times. And so they would say your schedule, your work schedule is this. And then you had some flexibility with that. The more you're producing, the less they bother you, right? So like, if you're a guy who's bringing in a ton of money every month, they don't care when you're there, or how you're making it happen, as long as the money's flowing and everybody's happy. Like, perfect. That's it. In the beginning, especially for somebody who's never trained before, it's much more of like, let's get you on something that you can stick with so we can teach you how to do this and to be successful at it. Every hour that you work in that kind of environment has one of 2 goals. You are either collecting on a contract you sold, or you're trying to sell a contract, right? So if I have a client from like 9 to 10 a.m., I'm just with that client, right? And I'm performing what they've contracted me to do. If I don't have a client from 10 to 11, guess what I'm trying to do from 10 to 11? Is find a client for that hour. And so you're walking around the gym chatting with people. You're doing phone calls like, hey, it's your birthday. You get a free workout. Why don't you come in and work out with me? Like, anything you can do to try to meet people, to just try to build that business up. So you get used to this pace. You get used to this pace where you've got a Red Bull in one hand, a cup of coffee in the other, and you're just like, go, 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 go. And then like, okay, I need to take a break so I can go get my workout. And then you go right back to it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's this constant thing. So now here I am at home, and it's like, you can't come to work right now. The company basically just said, we don't want you even contacting our members because we don't know what's going on yet. So it was just like, just wait. For like 2 weeks, just wait. Well,
hurry up and wait.
Yeah, I'm not going to just sit around and wait. And so even day one, like that Monday morning when I knew, okay, I'm not going back to work, it was like, what am I going to do? And so me and Bobby started chatting about, well, why don't we just start doing more podcasts? And let's record this afternoon. And so then it got to be, okay, I had some website projects that were on hold. Let's finish those up, because if I can get that little bit of money coming in right now, obviously that helps. So I would work on that in the morning, record an episode, edit the episode, get it ready to post the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like the first couple of days. And then it was like, well, why are we only recording one episode? Let's record 2 or 3 and get ahead. And then, hey, guess what? So-and-so is available, so we can get this interview.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, great. Well, one of the first people in this chain of interviews that we've been doing was a very old friend and mentor of mine, Tony Blauer, who's a personal defense, neurology of fear kind of guy. He's really topical for what we're going through right now.
Yeah,
and so we ended up doing like 2-part episode plus video, which we've never done a video podcast, but it was just like, I got the time, I can edit this, I can do this.
Yeah.
And so we just started hammering this stuff out. And then it was like, oh, so-and-so is available, so-and-so is available. And the guests just kept coming in. And so now what we've developed is like, I get up early in the morning, I get a workout in. I mean, that's usually between like 7 and 8 o'clock. I'll sit down, have my cup of coffee while my kids are waking up. I head down into my little dungeon down here where I do my workouts and stuff, and I lay my day out in front of me. I'll have a couple hours to work on web design, to work on my social media type stuff, which I've got a very strict schedule that I keep on that. And then from basically noon to 3 o'clock, we're recording podcasts and working on that stuff. I've got live workouts that I've scheduled throughout the day. So
as far as I want to jump in on the live stuff. So is that the live sessions I'd seen yesterday on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Is it at Joe_Cebula? Is that
you got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So any viewers, listeners that are interested, you do live sessions.
Yeah.
You were talking about potentially just kind of making a live thing just a regular reoccurring.
Yeah, so I decided the hot thing right now, and a lot of the trainers that I know have been doing are Zoom classes.
Mm-hmm.
So one-on-one, like you and me, we could be doing a personal training session right now. You know,
right.
I probably wouldn't have my headphones on, but I'd be taking you through a workout and checking your form and, hey, move the camera back. Let me see from that angle. And I can give you some cues. It's not the same as in person, but it's surprisingly effective. And so a lot of folks have been doing that. Well, then they realize, well, I can have 30 people on a Zoom call and run it like a class.
Yeah.
And I've actually experienced this where as a coach now, I've got all these different screens. And so I can just cycle through and be like, hey, Bob, that push-up looks really good. Hey, Sarah, make sure you're getting your hips below parallel. Hey, Sally, do this. Hey, Jenny, do that. Hey, Frank, do that. Like people really do get good training experience through that. And so that's been really popular. But I didn't have a whole slew of clients that were tech savvy, that were available, right, you know, or that were even willing to pay for it. So I just put a calendar on my website and said, look, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 p.m., I'm going to do a free, no gear workout. It's going to be all body weight stuff, and anybody can jump on that call. And most days I get 3 or 4 people that want to jump on. Yesterday was a day nobody wanted to jump on. So I just went live on Instagram and just did it myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to waste that time, right? I want to make sure that I'm giving something every day. And then maybe out of that, a couple of people want to sign up for one-on-ones. Maybe out of that, I get some other ideas. Like I've got some ideas of other types of classes that I want to run. Like I just have to figure out how to execute those things. And I'm just going to start offering. And by the time this thing is done, my goal as a business is to have like an entire virtual gym. Yeah. Like Micah, you can join my gym and this is the class schedule and this is where I'm available for personal training. Mm-hmm. And instead of you going to a facility, the facility is now digital and you are just getting the trainer through the computer.
So I got 2 questions for this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend that is a doctor in psychology, and they've talked how last week was their first day where they had all of their clientele that had shifted online. And mm-hmm. they were talking about how unique of an experience it was for them in that it almost seemed like people were more attentive and more open to what was being discussed because maybe they were they felt safer in their own environment, their own house. Mm-hmm. They had the comforts and the luxuries of what they were comfortable with as opposed to going to some foreign environment. Mm-hmm. So one of the questions is how is this new training that you're doing online live, how is it being received by everybody? And kind of on top of that, how is it for you engaging with instead of being face-to-face and in person, right? Like what's this dynamic that you've got going on?
So most people seem to enjoy it. All the feedback I've gotten is positive, and I hesitate to take that as 100% accurate because I do think people are really trying to be open-minded and really trying to be nice, you know, like
just pivot. Everybody's trying to make the
yes,
move.
It would be better if I had a world-class like garage gym and you could come in and I could like scream in your face. Like that's what people think they like. Okay. Yeah, I like the one-on-one via the computer, because a lot of what I do with people is I meet them at their level. And where are you more at your level than in your own environment?
Mm-hmm.
And the mental blocks that people have of like, I don't have space, I don't have time, I don't have equipment. Well, this takes that all away. And it's like, yes, you don't need equipment. Here's all you need to do today. And you've got that authority that you trust telling you what you need to do with what you've got. And
Mm-hmm.
people do seem to like that. And especially people who've actually invested. Some of the people I've trained with have entire home gyms that rival any gym I've ever owned. You know, they've got all the equipment, everything that you need.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why would you ever go back to the gym? Like, this is perfect. All you need is that coach. And now you don't have to find that coach like in your town. Like, you could pick any coach in the world and they can come to your place and work out with you.
I want to jump in just briefly. So you said all you need. You've got one thing going for you, Joe, that I think maybe a lot of people struggle with, and that is being able to motivate themselves even when they don't want to. Or like this, like getting past that self-doubt hurdle, or, you know, because you have your own story, you know, and anybody that isn't familiar, go check out Joe and dig into, you know, where he's been and what he's done. But you know, being able to work with your clients and help them in that way, even digitally. I mean, it's yeah. So the case in point, some people need a trainer in helping them get past that and beyond that. Because I know myself, I've struggled. You know, you get stuff in your house. I remember the first bench I ever got, you know, and I got my first bench when I was younger, and I got a bunch of weights and all these things, and it was in this apartment. And then it just got to where you're like, if you're sitting at your couch or your table and you see it in your space, and it's just, for some reason at that time in my life, I could appreciate the separation of like work and play in a sense, to where like getting out would help with that. But
well, I think at a certain point, like, there is no separation. Like, the workout is play. You know what I mean? For me, going to a gym is going to a playground. I'm there to mess around, to have fun, to feel good. It is. And it's hard for people to get through that. And again, that's why you need a good coach. You don't just need a trainer. I mean, if you want a program to follow, there's a million websites out there where you can download a program. You know, you can follow your favorite actor and be like, here's the program Hugh Jackman did to look like Wolverine. And like, you know what, the program's fine, but that's not the problem. The problem is you're not going to stick with it. You're not going to actually execute it. And you're full of self-doubt about how to do that. So you need somebody not to sit there and tell you what to do, but to help you get through all the stuff that prevents you from executing the program the way that it's intended. And that's kind of the difference between being a trainer and being a coach.
So listen, I'm going to ask you this. I know we're running past the time we had set, but real quick, and then I'll let you go, Joe. What is it, do you think, that is preventing people from doing that on their own? Like, what in your own experience with people that you've worked with that have made the transition to get to a point where they're like, you know what, Joe, I really appreciate everything you've done for me, but I'm going to just kind of take this show on the road now. And they kind of take control of their time and their motivation. What is it just some sort of self-confidence, or what is it that you help them get past?
I'm going to use a martial arts analogy here, right? So there's always this concept that this great guru who lives on top of the mountain, who knows all the secrets of martial arts, and he will teach you a little bit, and he will teach you a little bit, and no matter how hard you train, you're never going to knock that dude off the mountain. You're never going to be the next guru. It's almost like saying that the older generations are the only ones that knew all the secrets, and nothing new has been developed. We're all just trying to understand what these amazing minds had. But I don't think that that's true. I think if I'm doing my job as a trainer, as a coach, eventually the student becomes the master. Like, if you start training with me, I want you to understand enough about what I'm doing, enough about the nuance of it, about the why, the reasoning, and where this stuff comes from, that I'm basically curating all the knowledge that I've had to dig through to get to where I'm at, and packaging it for you so that you can apply it into your own thing. So most of the people that train with me for 2, 3, 4 years, they'll stick with me because we have a relationship, because we've built certain habits, because it works and it's great. A lot of people will sort of graduate and move on. And I think I need, again, as a good coach, to be willing to say, the time has come for you to go on and do this on your own. Because as long as I'm always up here, you'll always be down here. But if I kick you out of the nest, you're going to have to rise up.
I love
And
it.
the rising tide raises all ships. And so that's the way I look at it, is eventually you should understand enough about what we're doing. You should have been through that experience of learning, like, okay, so today I can't do a push-up. Now I've mastered push-ups. What does that do to my life? And again, a trainer can get you to a certain point. A coach is going to take you beyond what even the coach is capable of.
Joe, I think that's what makes you a great leader. And from what I know of Bobby, the same is that it's like the old adage about being a good boss is that you can't be afraid to hire people better than you. You're looking
Yeah.
at just improving everything and, not holding anybody back. So that's really refreshing to hear that you're out there and that's what you're doing. Oh, man, I love it. This is a great session. I think it got to a point that's really on point with what being a personal trainer and a coach is all about. And it's been interesting to see how in basically the last week and a half, 2 weeks, this pivot is starting to take hold for you, and there's some really cool stuff happening. Was there anything that you want to talk about, touch base on, or share before we go?
Tune in, Maximus Podcast. We've got a great guest list coming up. We've really been fortunate with some of the connections we've been able to make, and it's been entertaining if nothing else. So if you're looking for something to do, man, we've got daily episodes coming out. Tune in.
Outstanding. And for all viewers, listeners, that information will be in the About section below. Joe, thank you again. It's always a pleasure to have you on here. Looking forward to having you come back. And for all the viewers and listeners, thanks for tuning in. You heard the man. You can go find out these live sessions and more podcasts. Until next time, we'll see you around.